All right, welcome to Speak For Yourself. I'm Jason Whitlock. That's Marcellus Wiley, that dude.
Yes, sir.
Coming up, we'll tell you if Drew Brees is the best quarterback in football right now.
And if Amari Cooper can jumpstart the Cowboys season. But we start every day with a Whitlock. So what you got today, big dog?
Oh, I owe Bill Belichick an apology. I spent the entire offseason criticizing his decision to bench Malcolm Butler in the Super Bowl and predicting this would be Belichick's season of destruction. I think this Butler thing, if Belichick comes back next year, is the beginning of the undoing a little bit of his reputation. Dumber than Eugene Robinson's Saturday night decision before the Super Bowl. This was stupid, and it's costing Bill Belichick the respect of a lot of players. I look at this season as Belichick's last season, and Brady's making it clear he plans to play 3 or 4 more years, and I buy it. No, Bill, you think this is an issue in the past. I think this is an issue that can affect the team in 2018. All right, clearly I was wrong. The Patriots are riding a 6-game winning streak, sit comfortably atop the AFC East, and last night in a game promoted as a GOAT clash between Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, Belichick proved to be more GOAT than either of the quarterbacks. New England's 31-17 victory over the Packers said far more about Belichick than Brady. Belichick was the star last night. He and his defense frustrated Aaron Rodgers all night, hounding the elite thrower into a 55% completion rate and forcing the Packers to punt 5 times. The Patriots sacked Rodgers just 1 time, but they pressured him throughout the second half. On the offensive side, Belichick and his staff plugged in wide receiver Cordarrelle Patterson at running back and manufactured a passing game without Rob Gronkowski. It was classic next man up, do your job, Patriots football. The Patriots way still works. I erroneously thought the Butler Super Bowl decision would undermine Belichick's ability to lead. I was dead wrong. I owe Belichick an apology. His culture still reigns in New England. The national media narrative coming out of the game last night is about New England's 41-year-old superstar quarterback. Belichick played along with the media, showering praise on Brady.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, Tom's had a tremendous career, and so fortunate that I've been able to coach him. He's been our quarterback. He's earned it. Nobody's given him anything. I know you're talking about a lot of great quarterbacks, great players that he's ahead of. So it's certainly a testament to him and the longevity and productivity in his great career. Hopefully, he just keeps stacking them up.
Look, I love Brady, but last night I was reminded once again how lucky Brady is to be working with Belichick. Brady is the GOAT at quarterback. You can put him ahead of Montana or Elway or Manning or whomever you previously ranked number 1. But the distance between Belichick and all the other NFL coaching immortals is much greater than the distance between Brady and the other all-time great quarterbacks. Belichick is the GOAT of GOATs. Like Vince Lombardi over Bart Starr and Jimmy Johnson over Troy Aikman, Belichick's legacy will loom larger than Brady's. All right, joining the desk now, former All-Pro defensive back D'Angelo Hall, former NFL player and scout Bucky Brooks of the NFL Network. Marcellus, Belichick, last night, right. Belichick put a show on to me, and that show was about Belichick more than either quarterback.
I understand where you're coming from because he gave him the blueprint for success. And when we're talking about football, a great game of skill, a greater game of will. He's playing human chess better than any other coach out there in history. But it's about the players. It's about Tom Brady. I don't care where he was drafted in the 6th round. I don't care what you saw from him or didn't see from him in terms of talent. He has to go out there and go perfect in the 4th quarter. He has to go out there and have a perfect passer rating in the 4th quarter. He has to go out there and break the tie of 17-17 against another tremendous all-time great quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. So as much as I've played for good coaches and said, man, that was a great game plan, as much as I played for that same great coach with the same great game plan and we didn't execute, and all of a sudden it started to fall on our coach's lap, I was able to understand that it's nuanced, that there are moments when you're like, that game plan, better than anything we've seen. But it doesn't come to life until you have a player that can execute. That's Tom Brady. I give him all the credit for what happened yesterday, despite obviously having a great platform of great coaching and a great game plan.
This is one of those questions that no matter what you answer, people can find a way for you to be wrong. If I say Tom Brady, people can point out Belichick's greatness. If I say Bill Belichick, they're going to point out Tom Brady's greatness. And so I just think this is something where it's just a perfect marriage. You know, certain times in life, you just meet that perfect someone. And it feels like at the very moment Belichick and Tom Brady linked up, man, that it was a match made in heaven. And I don't know, you know, the debate was, could Aaron Rodgers have done this with Bill Belichick? I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is as selfless as Tom Brady has been over the years. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers takes team-friendly deals to get better players there around him. I can remember when I almost went to New England, and Bill Belichick set me down and said, hey, we promised Randy Moss we wouldn't pay anyone more than him. So this is the deal we have for you on the table. It's the same deal we gave Randy Moss. It's a 3-year deal. You want it? And I was like, nah, you know, I want a little bit more than that, Coach. Man, I was wrong. I made the worst decision of my life. I'll tell you what. But he stuck to his guns. He didn't budge. I obviously didn't budge. But I always think, what if? Man, what if?
I get it, bro.
You know, when you think about Belichick, I think Belichick in this debate or conversation, I think Belichick deserves the credit because just last night he put on display what you want to see from great coaches. Great coaches put players in positions where they can succeed. Cordarrelle Patterson was a guy who has bounced around as a wide receiver, hasn't really found his way. So last night he put him at running back. Now, North Turner had done that before in Minnesota. He had done it for a little bit with the Raiders. But last night he did, they used it, ran 11 times, had success. Think about Josh Gordon. Josh Gordon was, I can't get right in Cleveland. Goes to New England. To date, he's been like a model citizen. He right now is their #1 receiver. He has 2 100-yard games in the last 3 weeks. Belichick understands players and how to take them and put them in a situation to really elevate their games. I would say that he's probably done the same with Tom Brady. He has allowed Tom Brady to have greatness because he's taken what he does really well and built a system around that.
And last night, to me, I felt like he got Aaron Rodgers off his spot and inaccurate. 55% completion rate for Aaron Rodgers, like he threw for 40% completion rate. That's amazing that they could get him down to that level. And then I thought they survived the stretch of the game where Tom Brady just wasn't that good. I think it's great that he played well in the fourth quarter, but there were stretches in the second and third quarter where the dude looked very average and lost without Rob Gronkowski, and he was inaccurate. I think he threw 6 or 7 straight incompletions. They survived all of that because Belichick's defense allowed them to, and then what Cordarrelle Patterson ended up giving them in the running game, I feel like that's what got Brady back on track.
But to sum up what you said, it's about execution because, look, Belichick was calling the plays all 4 quarters, but they only work at certain times when the players actually activate those same plays. So I give credit to where credit's due. You guys are way more selfless than me because, look, we got great producers here, but if we come out here and mess up, I mean, we gonna be like, yo, the producers did it or the producers didn't do it. It's on us, bro. Like, we are set up for success, but we got to go out there and succeed. So I've always believed in the horse, not the jockey. You know what I mean? I'm sitting there like, you get a special horse, they say anybody can ride him as long as he's little. But if you, you know what I mean? But if you get you a bum horse and the best, Bill Shoemaker walk over there and that horse ain't going nowhere. So y'all giving Belichick a little too much credit. Brady out there doing his thing.
I mean, we giving Belichick this credit, though, because, I mean, obviously he hadn't won a Super Bowl without Tom, but he's been able to show that no matter who's in that huddle running the offense, that they have a chance.
In low leverage moments, though.
Well, yeah, you say low leverage moments. The only moment that I can point to is the moment that's presented to them. Yeah. And I mean, that was the moment. They didn't make it to the playoffs, even though they won 11 games that year, right? 10 games, 11 games.
Yeah, 11.
And so, you know, all you can beat is the teams that's in front of you, and Belichick always has his team ready to do that. Tom is Tom. You can't take that away from him. He does execute at the most crucial moments, and I mean, he is the GOAT. But without this system in which he was able to flourish in, I just don't know if we would be saying Tom Brady was the GOAT without this perfect marriage.
I think Belichick has put a stamp on the last 20 years of football that will live on for the next 100 years. And it's just like Vince Lombardi, bigger star than Bart Starr. Jimmy Johnson, bigger star than Troy Aikman.
Yeah.
The only case where I see Joe Montana is a bigger star than Bill Walsh, but Joe Montana, Bill Walsh left, and Joe Montana, I think, won 2 Super Bowls with Bill Walsh, and 2 with Steve. I think that's right. 3 with Bill Walsh, and 1 with Seifert. But Joe Montana's star is bigger than Bill Walsh. That's a rarity. I don't think Tom Brady is going to have that same celebrity status, or his imprint on this last 2 decades of football will not match Belichick's.
Yeah, I mean, great assessment, because there's very few times when you have that perfect marriage, that the quarterback actually becomes the bigger star. You pointed out most of them. Let's say Terry Bradshaw was a bigger star than Chuck Noll, probably. No?
Maybe not.
I don't know. I see Bradshaw every Sunday. Where Chuck? Respect.
I feel you.
It's interesting when you look at this. For one, Belichick's going to survive Tom Brady. I mean, we all know that coaches have a longer career than the players. So, one, he's going to be able to at least have an attempt to find another Tom Brady. The odds are whoever that quarterback is, no matter where he drafts him, won't be Tom Brady. But at least he can go out there and replicate this to some version, whereas Tom Brady, once he's done, it's over. And I think that's why Belichick will survive a Tom Brady and be considered greater than Tom Brady in terms of their relationship. He's just going to find his next Jimmy G that he wanted to do this with. He's going to find another guy who's going to get drafted higher than the 6th round, and he's going to try and mold him.
Even if it ends today, though, Marcellus, Belichick, this era of football will be known for Bill Belichick. They'll be probably renaming the Lombardi Trophy after Belichick.
Wow.
I mean, like, the numbers are just ridiculous. Like, 15 out of the last 17 AFC East titles, 9 in a row. Winning percentage in crucial months, November, December, they're sitting at 77.6. They just win games, and he has found a way to take anything. Defensively, they have guys that can't play for other teams. Go to New England, they look like all-stars.
Yeah.
It is his ability to really look and identify what he has and to put them in situations. You know it. All coaches aren't created equal. We played for some bad coaches that can't game plan, can't understand what to do with certain players. So I think you have to give him so much credit for their success. Even though Tom Brady played a big part, Bill Belichick played a big role.
Support for Speak for Yourself comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans, America's premier home purchase lender. Let's talk about buying a home. It can be one of the most important purchases you'll ever make. But today's fluctuating interest rates can leave you with unexpected higher payments, which can turn a great experience into an anxious one. That's why Quicken Loans created their exclusive power buying process. Here's how it works. They check your income, assets, and credit to give you a verified approval. This gives you the strength of a cash buyer, making your offer more attractive to sellers. Once verified, you qualify for their exclusive Rate Shield approval. They'll lock in your interest rate for up to 90 days while you shop for a new home. Then once you've found the one, if rates have gone up, your rate stays the same, but if rates have gone down, you get to keep that new, lower rate. Either way, you win. It's the kind of thinking you'd expect from America's largest mortgage lender. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/speak. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year purchase transactions. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply. Based on Quicken Loans data in comparison to public data records, equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030. Time for some big stories. Whitlock and Wiley, Bucky Brooks, and D'Angelo Hall are back. Let's move to New Orleans, where Sunday's showdown between the NFC's best teams didn't disappoint, with Drew Brees and the Saints handing Jared Goff and the Rams their first loss of the year in an epic shootout. Brees was spectacular yet again, throwing for 4 touchdowns and almost 350 yards. And at 39 is having one of the best seasons of his career. I think he's the best quarterback in football right now. And I say that without my Patrick Mahomes wig on today. I'm a Patrick Mahomes fan. Patrick Mahomes is having the best season a second-year quarterback's ever had. But Drew Brees is balling out of control. And I used to call Drew Brees the dirty little secret, because there was a little secret that the dude would throw interceptions. And that was the secret nobody would talk about. He's not throwing interceptions. He's got one all season. The guy's never won the MVP award. I think he's going to win it this year. I can't deny it. He's the best quarterback in football right now.
Nah, man, you out thinking this one. You should put your wig back on because Patrick Mahomes, he's lapped the field in terms of the MVP conversation. Now, let's not disrespect anybody. I don't want to disrespect Drew Brees. But even in his own division, Matt Ryan's having better year this year than he did when he won the MVP in 2016. And some of his numbers are better than even Drew Brees' numbers this year. So, hey, first of all, if you're going to be the best quarterback in the NFL, make sure you're at least the best quarterback in your division by all
You can't
categories.
even talk about Atlanta, man.
Okay, I don't want to talk about I didn't bring up Atlanta.
got a chance,
I brought
though.
up Matt Ryan, not Atlanta. Look at Mr. Atlanta over there. Want to say a little
I mean,
something.
Atlanta got a chance. Atlanta got a chance.
you
Like
go.
you said, Matt Ryan's playing great football. Like,
Great.
I don't even think.
Is he completing 76% of his passes?
No one is.
I mean, Drew always does that, though. Drew always does that.
76%?
Well, maybe not 76, but he's above 70.
Yeah.
He's always above 70. But 76%, I mean, we were just talking about Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers in as far as being the GOATs, and now we're jumping we're putting Drew Brees on top of both of those guys.
This
Drew Brees
season.
is playing great. He's playing great, no doubt about it. But like Marcellus said, I don't even think Drew Brees is going to win the MVP. I think he's third right now.
Behind Mahomes and who else?
Mahomes and Todd Gurley.
Oh.
Yeah, I think with the Drew Brees thing, I think what we find is less is more. What they've done is they're taking things off his plate. I believe their best two players, their most important players, are 22 and 41. Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara. They make it go.
Stop it, Bucky.
When you look without Alvin Kamara, they're not the same team. Offensive line, the backfield, because that
quarterback
backfield
league,
is
Bucky.
the best backfield duo of all time.
It's a quarterback.
Of all time.
Franco Harris and Rocky Bleier.
Look at what
who
they've
am I
done.
thinking?
Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara are the greatest backfield of all time. I'll stand on the table if I have to.
Whoa.
They are making it happen.
Eric
for the
Dickerson and Craig
because they
James
can
want to
run-
talk to you about the
That's
Pony
in
Express.
college. That's in college. Because they can run the football, they don't have to lean on Drew Brees to throw it 40 times. Look, as you get older, you need to have your other guys do more. He has that. That's why he's playing like he's playing.
Well, it's not even throwing the ball 40 times. It's because of those two guys. The throws in which he's making aren't the throws downfield. They're the little dig and dunks to the running backs out the backfield, and those guys are able to make people miss.
Yeah, Michael Thomas had 12 catches for
Michael Thomas to
211
me
yards.
is still one of the most elite players on that team, and Drew's safety blanket. But yeah, without those two guys, the offense
Those
doesn't
running
quite
backs.
flow.
Wait a minute.
But, man,
we got to push pause.
I still
'cause
don't
this
think Drew.
Conversation's getting away from us right now because Drew Brees is amazing.
He is amazing.
I'm just saying that our MVP this year is Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes.
We may have gotten a little tired with that. Heisman hopefuls usually don't pan out for two reasons. One, the production may not live up to the hype, but two, we get tired of just talking about it every single week. You got tired of talking about Patrick Mahomes.
I'm not tired of talking about
The
Patrick
dude is out there
Mahomes.
about to set a record for consecutive 300-yard passing games. And you sitting there like, it's Drew Brees. He's thrown 29 touchdowns. It's Drew Brees.
He's gonna get
now
the
in
50,
that
man.
comparison, it's Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
Look,
We're only at the halfway mark.
Okay.
he got
So that means he
29.
can have.
We're at the halfway
Can
mark.
I educate y'all with numbers and a full screen, please? Leads NFL. That means I'm playing better than the other quarterback. You think, Whitlock? Maybe 2,900 passing yards, 8 straight 300 passing yard games, 29 passing TDs. That's leading the NFL. Come on, y'all.
I mean,
these are
I'm
historic
with you.
numbers.
He's going to get 50 touchdowns.
Like,
And
I
if he
think
gets 50
you can make that
touchdowns,
point,
he's
but if
the
we
MVP.
talk
Get
about
60.
MVPs, you could throw Todd Gurley out there for all the stuff to do.
and we're
I'ma
not
throw him
talking
right
about MVPs. We're talking about the best quarterback. Tomorrow we'll talk about MVPs. Listen, I love Patrick Mahomes. Love him. And I get the TD thing. Love it. I was predicting 60 was a possibility.
On pace.
But at the end of the day, it's about throwing interceptions. And the guy that throws the fewest and has that kind of completion percentage and plays in the toughest division in football. To act like I'm making some ridiculous case for Drew Brees when we just saw him take apart the Rams. The man has gone all this way with one interception. This is some historic stuff. There's a chance this dude is going to end the year with 35, 40 TDs and 2 interceptions. That's incredible. And I love Patrick Mahomes, but he's thrown 5 or 6 interceptions. The guy is great. It's between him and Drew Brees. I get it. But Drew Brees is right in there with him.
I mean, Drew Brees is playing great football. We can't take that away from him. He is playing great football, but I just think right now, quarterbacks in the National Football League, it's still Tom Brady. He's still.
Wait a minute.
It's Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. Drew Brees is still in that conversation. Absolutely, Drew Brees is in that conversation. This year, if you have a game-winning drive and you can ask 100 people in sports,
I want Drew Brees this year.
Who they're taking, I guarantee Drew is not in the top 2 of that conversation.
Tom Brady. It's going to be Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers.
I love how y'all carve this conversation up just to say what you want to say. Nobody asked you about one drive. I got 4 quarters of football. You talking about one drive.
Even 4 quarters. You take 4 quarters. You take one game. You take one game and ask people who they want for one game.
That is not the whole game, D'Angelo.
But ask guys who they want for one game or one season.
I hate it when people used to say that. I'm like, yo, the other 3 quarters count, man.
They do count.
Yeah, so what if you got a Patrick Mahomes who's like, we score every first quarter. We score every first drive. And he gonna say, no, take that away. The last drive, one drive.
Money time. It's the money ball.
What if it ain't money time because you're already getting blown out? It's a game. The game's over. Patrick Mahomes, you playing them. Good luck keeping pace with that. Number one.
But there's a reason Drew Brees hasn't won an MVP yet.
Ooh.
Because he used to throw interceptions and he doesn't anymore.
Matt Ryan only got 3 interceptions.
It ain't all about the interceptions, man.
Matt Ryan got 3.
You acting like he's just where he only had 2. He had 27 touchdowns and 2 picks.
Thank you. We've seen this before, Whitlock. Get out of here.
We've not seen it with Drew Brees. We've never seen a man complete 77% of his passes.
Because those running backs making it easy for him. Throwing it to Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram on those screen passes. It's easy.
Michael Thomas, I just thought, had the 211 receiving yards. Did I watch a different game? It was the wide receiver that dominated, if I remember correct. Didn't he grab the cell phone?
He grabbed the cell phone in homage to Hollywood.
Yes, he did.
All right, to the team Brees beat, the Rams, who had been undefeated coming into yesterday's game. Sean McVay says adversity will help his team find out about themselves, but it looks like they already found out that their defense is vulnerable, giving up a season highs in points, yards, and afterwards, corner Marcus Peters put some of the responsibility on himself.
No, I can stand up, I can play better. I've been playing these last couple of weeks, and that's just being honest, But with me, I just continue to fight, man. That's the type of player I am. Who gives a you're going to get beat in football, But you go out there, you compete to the highest of your ability, and happens.
He's been getting burned up all season.
Lit up.
All season. Come on, look. They're vulnerable, I think, on the defensive side of the football. I think Ndamukong Suh has done nothing. I think Brockers has done very little. I think getting Dante Fowler, I think, was a mistake. You're 8-0, and you're adding pieces and immediate starters to your team. I think that draws some little dissension in your locker room. Like, damn, we undefeated, and they still out here replacing guys left and right. Too many knuckleheads on this team. You can't coach everybody. Wade Phillips can't coach everybody. Too many personalities, Marcus Peters being the number one.
Concerned is a little harsh for me. I am curious about this Rams team for one particular reason, is when they have to play at their best, because everyone in the world has circled a certain game for them in the last 2 years when they've been very good. They haven't lived up to those moments, and I'll take you through a few of them. All right, last year, the first one was Minnesota on the road, and Minnesota was off to a tremendous start. The Rams looked good, and everyone circled that game. And they went into the fourth quarter 7-7, lost that game 24-7. All right, then you say, okay, this team can rebound. They had to play the Saints last year. They won that game, very close game. Playoff game, remember? This team rested the last week of the season, fully rested, ready to take on Atlanta at home, the #1 scoring offense. Kind of went out there and laid an egg against the Atlanta Falcons team. Lost that game. You come into this year. Okay, what games are we circling now? We're circling this New Orleans game because this New Orleans team looks good. And fatigue caught up with this team on top of maybe they need to exercise those demons of playing their optimal football in those circled moments. They did not exercise those demons. They look fatigued. Why? 4 out of your last 5 games on the road. You land on Bourbon Street, and before you blink, it's 35-14, man. And they didn't wake up until after that wake-up call. Then the talent took over. They exhausted all their energy trying to catch up, make it 35-35. New Orleans wins that game by 10 because the other team's fatigued. I'm just curious about this team in those big moments. Are they going to live up to expectations?
I actually came away feeling good about this team after watching them lose against the Saints. The biggest thing that I worried about the Rams, were they front runners or did they have the resiliency to be able to come back? And what I learned is Sean McVay, as a play caller, is disciplined. He stuck with the game plan. They stuck with the running game. For all of the bells and whistles that this team will display, they're really built around Todd Gurley. They're built around the running game, play action, and Todd Gurley being the guy that makes it all go. In that game, when it wasn't going early, Sean McVay didn't abandon the run, didn't go away from it, stayed with Todd Gurley.
They gave up 45 points.
And they did it.
They gave up 45
That's fine,
points.
but here's what's going to happen. Their offense is going to be their best defense because they can take the air out of the ball with their offense and control it. And look, Marcus Peters, their pass rush hasn't been consistent and effective. They are still ahead of schedule. I believe this team is going to be there. They're going to be in the winner's circle.
Yeah, I think so, too. I 100% agree with you, Bucky. I think this team showed me a lot, being down 21 points and fighting back because everything kind of has been easy for the Rams so far this season. And so to watch them go down there and really struggle and see them keep fighting and keep clawing back, you know, you said you didn't like them adding Dante Fowler. To me, that's a good pick because you don't have outside pass rush presence. You need more help. As secondary players, you can't cover guys all day. And so maybe they saw that and they said, you know, we keep getting pressure up the middle, but unless we get pressure on the outside, because quarterbacks are just escaping the pocket. And so I like that move, them bringing him in. I didn't feel like, you know, it was a thing where it created dissension in the locker room. I think they knew. I think guys on that team understand, all right, we can bring in an elite pass rusher, and this guy's going to help us. Anytime you can add those kind of pieces, I think it helps the team out. But I think the Rams did not play their best football.
Right.
And to still have a chance to win that game, I think told me a lot about them. Defense didn't play great at all.
I want to be respectful because you're friends with Marcus Peters, and he's still in the burn unit right now.
Cedars. He over there at Cedars?
Well, he knows he got to play better.
What's going on with him, though? So, honest to goodness, what is the problem?
I just think he's being asked to do some things that he's not comfortable doing, and it's a little different.
Cover?
Not necessarily cover, but the techniques in which you cover. You might be asked to go out there and press a guy. That might not be what you do. You might want to play off and use your vision. Patrick Peters is a guy who needs to see the quarterback. He needs to see that.
Peters.
Oh, I'm sorry, Marcus.
Yeah,
Who did I say?
Patrick Peters.
Patrick Peters.
Peters.
I'm mixing the two guys.
Yeah, make him
I'm sorry,
blend.
Marcus Peters. He's a guy who needs to see the quarterback. He needs to see the ball come out of his hands. He needs to see receivers run routes, and that's how he takes his advantage of opposing offenses. He uses all those tools as far as seeing the receiver, seeing the quarterback, watching how the routes develop, and then he's able to jump it or make a play. When he's up there just pressed and doing it the way they want him to do it, he can't see anything, and so he has to just play ball. In certain situations, he gets ahead of himself. He gets to see ghosts, we say.
Look like he can't see the receiver
either.
either.
Ghosts.
Right there in front of you, bro.
I mean, when you see that quarterback's shoulder and you're playing just that quarterback, you don't have a chance to really know what that route is. That route could be curl. That route could be go. You saw a couple times on that 75-yarder, he thought that route was curl. He settled his feet. It ended up being go. As the ball's in the air, he's trying to jump and make a play on it.
It's funny. I talked to a defensive coordinator last night about Marcus Peters, and the thing that he said was, I don't know if he has the ability to focus enough to be a true number one where he has to lock in and pay attention to Michael Thomas all over the field. By playing golf and playing space, he can kind of wander in and out the game but still make plays when he sees a certain look, a certain formation, something that matches what he studied off film. I think the big thing, and we'll see if Wade is able to do this, I believe Marcus Peters was very similar to Aqib Talib when I watched him coming out of college. He needs to play off. Let him play man-to-man, but let him play off. Put in some zone where he can set traps and bait quarterbacks. His interceptions come because he's playing in space. Most of the times, guys that deliver interceptions are zone corners because they can see the ball come out the quarterback's hands. Put him in his comfort zone.
Bucky Brooks is back. We're joined now by Fox NFL analyst Michael Vick. Let's move to Dallas, where Amari Cooper will see his first action as a Cowboy tonight, facing off against the Titans at Jerry World. Dak Prescott has made no secret of how he feels about Cooper's arrival in Dallas, saying this week that Cooper has brought a positive energy to practices and praising the receiver's explosiveness. I expect Cooper will lead to a new and improved Dak Prescott. I have high hopes that this guy will be able to stretch the field, back the safeties off, free up some running lanes for Ezekiel Elliott, make their play-action passing game better. I think Amari Cooper's impact starts immediately tonight. We're going to see a better Dak Prescott.
That sounds good. That sounds like yeah. Where your pom-poms at? Root, go, Dak, go, Dak. Man, you got to show me something before I start saying that I believe in something that's going to happen. Look, this is an interesting relationship between conservative players and a conservative play caller in Scott Linehan and even Jason Garrett. Like conservatism all around. Dak Prescott, a guy who hasn't even thrown for 3 touchdowns in this inflated NFL this year. Like seriously. I mean, not even trying to clown. Like, just whoa. Okay, we haven't seen him throw for 300 yards this year. Okay. And now he's saying that since he saw Amari Cooper in practice and his explosiveness, it's over. This is all I needed. Now, in comparison to what you saw from an injured Dez Bryant in his late years or Cole Beasley on the daily, maybe you don't know what explosiveness really looks like because Amari Cooper is really good and he's fast, but sudden, blurry, never really a part of his report card. Runs precise routes, will get open, a tremendous talent, but this explosiveness.
All that sounds real good to me.
It does sound good, but then who's throwing on the ball? So I'm just waiting to see it all go on.
Tonight, tune in tonight, Marcellus.
I am cautiously optimistic as I root for every player. I just don't know if I see this marriage working.
You're such a hater.
I know I am.
Such a hater on Dak Prescott. I believe this move was perfect for Dak Prescott. It's exactly what he needed because they needed to reset the roles of the passing game. He's the number 1 receiver. Cole Beasley can go back to being the complimentary guy, the number 2 working in the slot. But really, the biggest move that we haven't talked about, they went and brought Hudson Hawk back. Hudson Hawk is going to get the offensive line right. The best player on this team is Ezekiel Elliott. The offense runs through Ezekiel Elliott.
Exactly.
When the offensive line is going, Ezekiel Elliott is running, Dak Prescott is going to look like a different quarterback. The running game is going to set up play action, and Amari Cooper has enough juice to make plays down the field.
I agree with you, Bucky. I think the thing that will make this offense go and make Amari Cooper look as good as he can look is if Ezekiel Elliott runs the football effectively. The last thing they want to do is put this guy out there, knowing that the Tennessee Titans for the last week or so have been game planning for Amari Cooper, knowing that he's coming into town. Over-the-top coverage, double teams, this is what he's going to get. The game plan has to be designed so that Amari Cooper can get open, not force it, run the offense through Zeke, and then just see where the chips fall. But this situation reminds me of 2014 when I was in New York. We brought in Percy Harvin, through a trade, after the bye. Brought him in. He looked really, really good in practice. He played well, but we ran him into the ground in practice just trying to see what he could do and what he couldn't do. Got out there, tired legs. I think the situation will be different, but the offensive coordinator has to make sure that he govern, this opportunity and make sure that he do all the right things when Amari steps in on the field and put him in position where he could be effective, not just out there as a decoy in the beginning.
When Dak throws for 3 touchdowns tonight, maybe 4, I can't wait to see what you're going to have to say.
I hope Amari has 2 of them.
First of all,
you have to get the Twitter off.
We're going to get on
the Twitter
Don't
off.
set me up like I'm rooting against this dude. I just never seen it.
I don't think
He got the talent to do it, I will say that.
I don't think you're rooting against him. I just think you're too skeptical of him. We've seen Dak Prescott when the offense was right, when his Zeke was right, when the offensive line was right. We've seen what that looks like, and that looks very good. Does it look like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL? No. But a guy that you can win with and win at the highest level? Absolutely.
Whitlock, even through those days, the first year you're talking about, he never threw for 4 touchdowns. He only threw for 300 yards 3 times in his career.
He didn't need to, Marcellus.
He didn't have to, though.
Okay, I love y'all, but look, I'm going to earn my check, so I'm going to keep it balanced. I'm going to tell the truth up here, okay? Here's the real of it.
You're fair and balanced,
I'm going to be fair and balanced.
Mr. Fair and balanced.
We talk about a guy who's thrown for under 200 yards 16 times and only over 300 3 times. If I
You ever thrown the Cole
Put that on
Beasley?
the coordinator.
Man, you ain't lying. Cole Beasley, look, he should be an appropriate number 2, not a number 1. But if I keep bringing home C+, B-, don't expect me to get an A+ on the final, man. Y'all just expected too much too fast. Let this thing groom into something. But they expect, he going to set all-time records in terms of PR just because they got Amari Cooper? Y'all really believe that?
Amari's credit, he is a game breaker. And we can't take that away from him. And listen, I'm happy that Dak Prescott finally got a weapon to replace Dez Bryant, whose production hasn't been as good over the years. but somebody that they can incorporate into the offense and give it a different look.
And quarterback Michael Vick, why wasn't his production the same? Dez didn't want to go there, but he's like, when I had Romo, who was the franchise quarterback, who would throw me open or trust me in 50-50 balls, I get that.
Marcellus.
But then the conservative Dak wouldn't throw the same football.
Marcellus, I got an analogy for you.
Oh, here we
Let me
go.
tell you something. When you were over at that other place, a lot of people thought you were Dak Prescott. And I was like, no, this dude is Aaron Rodgers. He just got to be working with the right material. You're over here with a playmaker now.
Look at it. So all my touchdowns because I'm with you. Belichick.
I saw the potential. I saw the potential. You got a
Dusting me off.
You got a playmaker next to you.
All right, Amari.
Now you making plays.
I appreciate you, Mr.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm Whitlock. He's Marcellus Wiley. Time to put on our thinking caps. D'Angelo Hall and Bucky Brooks are back. As you know, I'm a journalist, and we've got our resident Ivy Leaguer, Marcellus, here. So we're going to take a deeper look at some of the bigger issues in sports. Darnell, bring out Marcellus's special cap here. Oh, boy.
Oh,
got to
yes.
put up with his
Oh, we're running out of T-shirts. What's going on? We fade up here. Right? Y'all need to win more games. Come on, man. Get some more shirts.
Yeah, we do. It's been a rough year. All right, let's move to New Orleans, where Sunday was a banner day for Saints receiver Michael Thomas, who finished his team's win over the Rams with 12 catches for 211 yards. But after his biggest play of the game, a 72-yard touchdown that helped extend the Saints' fourth-quarter lead, Thomas channeled his inner Joe Horn and pulled a flip phone out from under the goalpost, earning a 15-yard penalty that gave the Rams great field position. While they didn't capitalize, a lot of people took issue with the celebration, including our own Michael Strahan.
You were actually on the other side when Joe Horn did that back in 2003 against the Giants.
Yeah, I mean, I was there. I didn't like it then. I didn't like it now. But, you know, I think you guys want to be creative. They want to come up and have, you know, something that's different from what everybody else is doing. That I don't like when you do the prop because it is also a manner of respect if you score a touchdown and go up.
What if they score quick?
Well, I didn't like
they
that.
turn around and score quick. It's
and they turn. And what if you lose the game? You look like a fool, and it kind of overshadows such a big game that this kid has. So hopefully it's a one-time thing.
All right, this is why I love this show, because I get to talk to former professional football players and get their take. I'm sitting there watching as a fan, loving this game. And the game's not over. And he's doing this kind of celebration to hurt his team, and I'm looking at all of his teammates celebrate with him. And I'm like, is everybody crazy? They just cost his team 15 yards. This didn't seem fun. This seemed foolish and selfish to me.
It did seem foolish, and it was totally a contradiction of my spirit. I'm fun-loving. I love to have fun out there. I always smiled and laughed during football games, even when they were contentious. I was still like, hey, man, I remember the origins of this game. It was just a bunch of brothers out here having fun and trying your hardest, and then everything else falls where it may. But then I saw this play, and I was like, God. It took me back to, like, the origins of football. In your childhood years, I used to be the nerd on the school bus. And don't look at me like that, D'Angelo. And I'm sitting in the front. He's like, still the nerd on the school bus. And this hat. And I'm sat in the front, and I used to always see our school bus driver have this big visor with all the rules on it. Remember the rules? And one of them was no horseplay. And I didn't get that at first. I was a young kid. I was like, what does horseplay mean? He's like, don't act up. Don't do something foolish. And I was like, why? He's like, because someone or something's going to get hurt. And then I looked at Michael Thomas yesterday. I was like, that's what they're talking about. Don't do something in the spirit of having fun that's going to lead to you getting hurt, your team getting hurt, penalized, and it could come back to haunt you. As former players, we all know we learn most when we lose, unfortunately, because the climate's different. When you take an L, everybody's ears on attention. Coaches really driving in the lessons. But when you win, we spray that perfume and say, oh, everything's going to be all right. This should be a teaching moment, even in a win, that they drive home that was just a foolish and selfish act.
You know, I don't mind it because today's NFL athlete is a little different than the guys back in the day. And so having fun and celebrations is part of the game. And I bet there's a lot of people in the world who don't even know who Joe Horn is. I know who Joe Horn is. I'm sure a lot of people don't know who Joe Horn is. But Michael Thomas has just now introduced Joe Horn to the rest of the world. And so, for me, I don't mind it. And Sean Payton wasn't very disappointed. Sean Payton seemed like he was having a good time in the spirit of the moment. And yes, In the playoffs, we don't want Michael Thomas doing this. Could it have potentially hurt his team? Yes, it could have. But it didn't. And we live in a generation where if it doesn't burn me right now, I'm cool with it. And I'm not mad at it, man. Let this kid have fun. If you don't want him doing all that, stop him. That's what our coach used to tell us. Stop him.
It's hard for me because as a former player, I loved it. I loved the celebration. I thought it was cool. I was sitting in the mall watching the game, and I was like, oh, he's doing Joe Horn's thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, he paid homage to Hollywood. Hollywood had to be excited they brought him back. Now, as a high school coach, I would tell my guy, like, come on, just understand situation and circumstance. Let's make sure we don't jeopardize the thing. But look, the game was over. When he put that in,
It was.
It was a done deal. It was a done deal.
3 minutes,
I mean, a lot of things had to happen for the game not to be over.
It was over.
The coffin was out. The hammer was in your hand, but it wasn't nailed in.
The fat lady had the green
over, but it was close.
It was over. It was a done deal.
Look, I want to say this, and Bucky knows Joe Horn. I know Joe Horn. He made his bones originally in Kansas City. I don't need a history lesson on Joe Horn.
Yeah, you don't, but a lot of people don't know Joe Horn.
But again, the world isn't improved by people knowing Joe Horn today. Here's my point. Here's my point that we haven't gotten to, all of this was social media driven.
Exactly.
It had nothing to do with the team. It had to do with a kid saying, I'm going to build my social media brand. I'm going to get a television commercial out of this act. Nothing he did had to do with the team. That's what bothers me, and I'm sure that's what bothers Sean Payton. Because once you set that poison in your locker room, do what's best for Michael Thomas. Do what's best for you. Do what will get you a television commercial or 20,000 extra Twitter followers. That's a poison that can spread throughout your locker room.
No, I understand exactly what you're saying, and you're right, but that's what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
That's what every guy in the
That's
National
the
Football
problem.
League wants to do.
That's the
They
problem.
want to do something to make themselves known. To make them to get more followers, just like you said. That's the reason
That's
he
the
did
problem,
it.
D'Angelo.
I know it, but I don't care. I don't mind him doing that.
Because you about
trying
to
to
click
get
on.
on.
You trying
I'm
to
trying to
follow
get
him now.
on.
huh?
I ain't
But see,
following
hold
the
on.
kid.
You can't do stuff for House of Highlights, man. Like that, like you just doing something so you could get retweeted.
But today's
within the rules.
society, that's what kids
No,
do.
man, the game ain't went that far away from
Oh,
it.
That ain't what
no,
they're
no.
doing. But
Dude,
is
hold
that
on.
what they doing or what
Twitter
not?
at halftime? Like that's
Man.
today's kid. You just
Oh,
trying
I
to
get
get them to
that.
put the phone
I get
down.
that. But you know what? What we still kept in respect was like my ball, whatever I do exciting on that field was going to give me the most love. This is really what happened. All right, everything you're saying is contrived. Look, there's boundaries to anything that's going to be fun. And we know it can't be a consequence to all of us because then it's not as fun. Like we just took a penalty, yo. And if they go down and score quick, then all this is going to unravel. He's a guy who by production is one of the top receivers in the game. But he's a guy by conversation not mentioned as one of the top receivers. So when you have that intersection, then you do something like this. But I don't like that because just keep doing your DeAndre Hopkins and that will get you in that
But
conversation.
why do we talk about Odell?
Yeah,
Because he
of the
does
catch.
some of that crazy
Because
stuff.
of the catch.
Because he
Because of all
does
the
some of
other
that
The
other
catch
stuff too,
wasn't
though, Bucky.
contrived. The
But
catch was like, Eli, throw me a bad ball again.
I'm
Let me
saying
go get
because
it.
he does some of that other stuff, some of the extra stuff. He's on the sideline. He's talking to
But
the
that
net.
didn't ignite
He's
it for
doing,
Odell.
he's-
The catch did.
I know
in
the
field
catch
of play.
did, but the reason we're still talking about Odell and we still are constantly trying to see what's going on with him or what's going to happen next is because he always gives you something.
But what got
It's
him
not just
there?
his play on the
what got
field,
him
though.
there?
But like if you look at recently, he's pulling a page out of the playbook that's been successful for guys like Richard Sherman,
yes.
Josh Norman. He is next. Like if I'm playing on the field and my shine isn't getting enough notoriety, I have to do something else because guess what we're doing? We've just been 10 minutes talking about
Bucky,
it.
Bucky, and I'm glad you and D'Angelo have said this. Don't get mad at me when I go here, but we just keeping it factual and keeping it 100%. This is what I've always said about Kaepernick.
Oh, my
This social media driven. How can I build my brand? And I'm listening to you all say, this is what every NFL player wants. How can I get all the attention on me and build my brand? Yeah. And again, when you let that poison loose, and it's loose in the NFL, it can go any direction. And the next thing you know, somebody loses their starting job and their brand is going down. What can I do to draw attention to I'll take a knee and say I'm protesting police brutality,
See,
then I'll spend the next 2 years never saying a word, and my friend Eric Reed will be out here fighting Malcolm
Getting
Jenkins
game balls.
and doing fighting Malcolm Jenkins and doing everything, talking about everything but police brutality. It's all attention. I can't say the word because we're on live TV, but it's attention seeking is what I'll say. That's what all this is.
I don't know, Cap, so I don't know, if that's the way he approached this whole situation.
Ain't that something? You
But-
just gonna hijack.
Hey, I see you.
We out of time,
He
too.
did.
We'll have to pick it up tomorrow.
But speaking of getting attention, just took this whole conversation and went there. What are we supposed to do now?
All right, thank you, Buggy. Thank you, D'Angelo. We're joined now by Fox NBA analyst Iceberg Jim Jackson. All right, let's move to the Lakers, who lost again last night, getting embarrassed on their own floor by the Kawhi Leonard-less Toronto Raptors. Before the game, Magic Johnson addressed reports that he went off on Luke Walton, admitting that he had a tough conversation with the coach, but adding, quote, he's gonna finish the season unless something drastic happens, which it won't.
Finish the season. All right.
He's going to finish the season unless we lose a bunch of games and then I'm going to fire him. That's not much of a vote of confidence. Luke Walton's job is not safe. There's rumors out there that there's interest in maybe Mark Jackson or even Tyronn Lue. I think Luke Walton's job is week to week.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. That half-pregnant support you gave me, Magic. All's good unless it ain't. I mean, guess what, Magic? That means it's not all good. That's the very definition of job insecurity right there. It's either all or nothing. So I give you a little history lesson. Doing radio out here for so many years, you got to go into the details of the Lakers. And, being a Clipper fan, I was very interested in those details, especially when they all didn't sound glowing. I remember when Luke Walton was first considered for this job. Do y'all remember what his dad told him? His dad, Bill Walton, said, don't you take that job. Now, I'm not going to force you. You're a grown man. Do what you want. But that's not the best thing for you because Bill Walton knew what was going to happen. Sooner or later, he was going to return to this storied franchise, and they wanted to return to greatness. And everyone's expendable until they get to that place. This is the same franchise that Magic Johnson used to be a part of the front office. And then sold his shares and his investment in it and walked away. He's like, I don't like how this is going. Magic Johnson, you just got to kind of see how this machinery can eat up people until they return back to the Showtime or get 2.0 out of it. So, Luke Walton, you're not safe, and I'll be weary if I were Luke Walton in that position right now.
Well, you got to be worried anyway because this is not Magic and Rob's guy. They came in on the auspice of he was already here. Now, keep in mind, with Luke, it's a couple of different things going on. Luke inherited a team where he thought he could put his own imprint on. This is pre-LeBron. So they wanted young players. He can develop them a la what Blatt did when he was in Cleveland. Here comes LeBron. All that goes out the window. So you're looking at a guy who wanted to play fast. You're not going to play as fast. They're 2 positions lower this year in pace of play. 4th compared to 2nd. Look at this, man. This is my man right here. You talking about Iceberg right there. Right there.
Too much Laker talk, my alarm go off, man.
But listen, pace of play is down. They're 4th this year compared to 2nd. So LeBron, you think about LeBron's game right now is built for the playoffs. It's not built for the regular season. This team wants to run fast. They want to get out and go. So now you're experimenting with who can play with LeBron. And all this talk about Ingram is not playing well. Well, keep in mind, you not only taking the ball out of his hands because of LeBron, you have Rondo got the ball in his hand, you have Lance Stevenson has the ball. So everybody's roles change. So not only do the Lakers come in with a different mindset as far as expectations, that the pressure is on them to play because you're playing with LeBron, which is different than last year. Every game matters, but you're playing different roles also because of LeBron, because of Rondo, because of Lance Stevenson. So Luke is in a tough position because what he signed up for ultimately changed once LeBron and all these changes took place.
Man.
In an impossible position is what I just heard.
Yeah, what you heard, and let's support this with facts. This team is worse with LeBron James than they are without him. And here's the number.
Especially defensively.
Oh, my God, it's insane. Like, my eyeballs was telling me this, and then finally it came across the screen this morning. Plus, minus. Yeah. With LeBron on the court, this team is -30. With him off the court, chilling, saying what's up to everybody, plus 19. pace of play, you can see it, especially in the fourth quarter. He eats up the shot clock because he's not playing with the same energy, and they're not playing with the same energy with him. It's just an interesting, dubious start right now, and they're not going to blame LeBron. They're going to blame Luke.
LeBron's an immovable object.
Yeah.
Luke Walton's very movable. All right. Well, with the Lakers off to a slow start, LeBron's been preaching patience all year, and he didn't seem to be broken up by last night's blowout loss, with TMZ catching LeBron making an appearance at P. Diddy's 49th birthday party. I've been saying for weeks that LeBron has gone Hollywood, and here's some more proof. Look, LeBron is out here to be a Hollywood star, particularly this year. And eventually that spreads throughout the locker room. Everybody, if I can smell it sitting in the studio in Century City, you know they can smell it inside that locker room. And that's why I think they got outscored by 25 points in the first quarter last night. That's inexcusable with LeBron James on the court. But LeBron wasn't into the game. The team wasn't into the game. And they got embarrassed last night. Not surprising.
Did you just marry the fact that he had a Diddy party? First of all, how old are you? Stop calling him P. Diddy. Like, his name
Diddy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, keep up with the Diddy.
Whatever,
name.
I'm sorry.
Come on,
I'm
man,
sorry.
take that. You got to understand what this is. So, one, you think LeBron walked into Staples Center not focused, distracted? Because after the game, you all got the Diddy party to hit. Like,
you ever had a big party you hit afterwards? You tell me you don't think about it
I had a lot.
A
lot. And guess what? It ain't going to start no sooner by me not doing my job, right?
That's right.
And matter of fact, if I do my job, it's going to be even better party because they be like, yo, Wiley, you did that today, baby. So I am LeBron. I'm more motivated if I got a party to hit after. I want to go in there in a losing effort, and I want to go in there and I ain't go get buckets. Now, both of those occurred, but still, let's stop with this whole imagery in our world, our culture, that you have to make this production that when you lose, all hell must break loose. When you lose, I must show tears. I can't be happy with the wife. I can't pick up my kids. I can't go over to the Diddy party. Not the same, but guess what? In my world, it's all the same.
But what you're saying is not a good look optically, right?
Yeah.
Because they lost.
Yeah.
But this is LeBron James in his 15th year, going to his 16th year. Considered one of the greatest players to ever play. His optics are a lot different. Now, does it look bad in regards to his teammates? No, because they understand it.
Because they went to the party, too.
Hey, listen, if you got the invitation, you wouldn't go?
Yeah, you ain't taking
I
me?
would.
Hold on.
After a tough show like today, say things went haywire. Right. You wouldn't go?
First of all, you'll never catch me slipping on the job like they call it.
You did. Oh, God.
I mean, and if you did, I wouldn't go to the party that night because I'd be concerned.
But listen, I don't concern myself with that because LeBron has been in this situation for 15 years. He understands what the magnitude is. And he knew the cameras were going to be there. Yeah. So he's going to have to answer questions. That's nothing different. Now, again, it's magnified because we're in L.A. It ain't going to be in a Puff Daddy party in Cleveland after the game. We all know that. Yeah. So there's more things to do here in L.A., but that's just part of what comes with being LeBron James and being a Laker.
And that's what I'm saying about.
I don't have an issue with it.
The LeBron James in Cleveland, I'm sure him and his teammates kicked it and had a good time. I'm sure they did. The best they could in Cleveland. L.A., there's a buffet every night. Do I want wings tonight or do I want filet mignon?
Like you want
some sushi.
Yeah, like
want sushi.
It's a buffet.
And you killing it.
Everything is available to you, and there's more of a distraction.
What? That's a common man's mindset. The big party. I
am a common man. I'm sorry.
But listen, this is not a common world in L.A., and LeBron and the Lakers are not common. But here's the thing, I will say this. That at the end of the day, the bigger picture for the Lakers is be competitive this year, get to the playoff, get to free agency next year, and develop these young players. That's what we're ultimately talking about. Can this be accomplished under Luke and under this current circumstances that they have? If they can do that, they'll figure it out. If not, it's going to be some change.
Yeah, Diddy's party was already there. Like, Diddy can't change his birthday. And he'd send LeBron an invite.
I was at a party before with Diddy in New York. I didn't get an invitation.
See what I'm saying? You probably had something good.
I had a ball, too.
Man, stop that, man.
All right, thank you, Iceberg Jim. All right, Marcellus, it's my favorite time. Time to get antisocial. Time to find out what's popping in them Twitter streets.
What's cracking like it, Maggie?
Darnell Smith, our social media manager. Darnell.
That bacon neck on. What's up, bro?
Oh, man. I know you not. Before we get started, can you put that phone on silent?
Oh, I know, right? Hey, Michael Thomas hitting your boy up.
True amateur hour right there.
You know what I mean? What are you on with, like? Get your boy.
That was it.
Get your boy right.
Go ahead, hit him up, Darnell. What's happening?
Yeah, let's start off with the never-ending Le'Veon Bell saga, where it is still unclear if he will be returned to the Steelers. But today, Bell sent a kind of mysterious tweet writing, quote, "Farewell, Miami." The Steelers play the Panthers on Thursday night. What do you guys think this tweet means?
Well, he's definitely leaving Miami.
Yeah.
And I think it definitely means that.
Way to break that down.
And I think he's on a plane probably headed for Pittsburgh.
No, I don't think he's heading to Pittsburgh just yet. They have to, the Tuesday of November 13th that week. So he has a little time still. I think this was all about, let me just test the waters to see what the public response is, because the James Conner train is gaining momentum big time, to the point where when we saw Baltimore and the defensive coordinator give it some fire, all of a sudden people starting to realize it. And if you look into the same tweet, look at all the comments, James Conner's better. James Conner's great. Delusional, stay away. He's cheaper and better than you. Uh-oh. So I think this is one of those egos, like, let me check and make sure they still love me the same. Doesn't look like they do.
You know what? The other thing we missed out on here, though, is he actually misspelled farewell.
Oh, man.
Hey, man, you leave that man alone.
He is in Miami, so ain't no
Did he go to sleep is the question, right?
Le'Veon, a Michigan State grad, I believe.
Yeah.
Little brother of Michigan. Darnell, what's next?
Yeah, moving on to our own guy, that dude who was in Buffalo yesterday for the Bills-Bears game.
Oh.
Marcellus was out and about tailgating before the game and participating in a wing-eating contest in the parking lot. He's really tearing them wings up. How would you grade his performance?
I'm shocked. If there was a wing eating contest, you should have invited me. I could have been your stand-in for
Farewell, LA, huh?
Yeah,
You would have been out there.
yeah. I could have been your stand-in, and you would have won this contest.
No, it looks much easier than it is, brother. That is some hard work, man. Respect to all the hot dog eaters and chicken wing eaters out there. I try to kill it. You have 6 wings to eat as fast as you can. I was done with 6 at 40 seconds. But then I had to swallow them, and they just kept expanding the chicken meat all in my mouth. And I ain't got the big jaws like you, Whitlock. I ain't have as much storage in there, so it was just hurt, man. It was turning into yeast. I was like, man, I can't do it.
How you gonna be done if they haven't been swallowed yet?
Oh,
You had them stored.
I thought
you weren't done. You just stored them.
Save them for later.
He was like, okay, keep going. I was like, why the clock still running?
I do that all the time. I store a little, put a little extra in my, take it home with me, eat it later.
We need to have a wing eating contest on set one day.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? That'd be interesting.
Oh, yeah. Lock it in. Do the odds on that one. I know Whitlock is a heavy favorite. Heavy favorite right here.
All right, Darnell, what's next?
All right, moving on to someone we haven't heard from in a while, LeVar Ball, who took a dig at Lakers head coach Luke Walton, telling Sky Sports that he could coach the Lakers with his eyes closed. LeVar went on to question Walton's lineup rotations and complained that Lonzo should be playing with LeBron all the time. Obviously, Twitter always goes nuts anytime LeVar talks. Did you guys miss LeVar?
No, but based on his results in Lithuania, he does coach with his eyes closed.
Oh, man.
So I don't know if that would be any different, coaching with his eyes closed.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, I don't miss LeVar in this lane because I think everything he says is tongue-in-cheek. I think everything he says is just like the uncle who got to the party before you and had a few more before you got there. I always love LeVar Ball, so even something like this, he's actually got something going right here. Those lineups too many times. Lonzo looks amazing when he's on the court, looks amazing when he's with LeBron on the court. So he does actually speak the truth, but I don't miss him.
This year is just an experiment for the Lakers.
Oh, stop that.
He wants the experiment to be over because he don't know the results for Lonzo.
What?
So he doesn't want him experiment with the lineup. He wants a decision on Lonzo. He's whining.
No, man, hold on. When you bring a LeBron to the Lakers, no experiment, man. You bring in the best. Like you said earlier, when you brought in me, you brought in LeBron to this show. Is this show an experiment? Or are we trying to go get this championship back?
We trying to get this championship.
Well, then, damn it, same with the Lakers.
But the team, see, we got 2 superstars. They only got 1, so they need to figure out who the others are.
Good point, man. Come on, Lakers, get your record up.
Darnell, go ahead.
All right, last but not least, I was watching First Things First this morning, and our guy Nick Wright had a very interesting point on Mike Tomlin and just the Steelers in general. Take a listen.
Mike Tomlin has proven year after year he's one of the best coaches in this league. This year, much like last year, they don't have a great start to the season. We can blame some of that on Le'Veon Bell, some of that on Big Ben, some of that on the head coach, obviously. The defense all of a sudden got better. The offense with James Conner has been very good. Antonio Brown's always going to be Antonio Brown. And the Steelers look like what they're supposed to look like, which is the best team in the AFC North.
Are we getting too hard on Tomlin this season?
No, I think, again, what my point on Tomlin has always been, it's my point with just about everybody. You got to turn some fire up to cook some bacon. And so you got to put some heat on some guys to get the best performance out of them. I love the way Mike Tomlin is responding to the pressure that's on him. He's doing a great job.
But you must apologize because you've been very critical of Mike Tomlin. I've been telling you all along he's going to figure it out like he did last year. The slow start, no Le'Veon Bell in the beginning, suspension, 13-3. How come you didn't expect this to turn around again?
Because, again, I've been very critical of Bill Belichick. Yeah. I have been like, hey, man, Mike, you need to do better. We need to see a better performance out of your team and you. I've been hypercritical of Belichick. Mike Tomlin, I've put pressure on, and he's responded to the pressure.
What coach has the second most wins that's active right now? Mike Tomlin. I don't understand why
he needs pressure like everybody else.
But half empty, half full, when you don't know where this is going, how come you don't say half full? It's amazing you got some criticism of Mike Tomlin.
I'm a critic.
Apologize.
I'm a critic. I criticize myself.
I get some of that.
Putting Mike Tomlin on the same pressure I'm under. We'll get to our approval ratings presented by Geico in just a minute. But my main man, my Uncle Jimmy, is back.
Oh, man.
Rejoin. SWAT. SWAT team? What is this? What are you doing now?
Top flight security of the world, Craig. Of the world.
Look at you.
Is this get out?
Man, for real, man. They should have told me last night, man. They told me, I thought they said go down and do an event with the Staples Singers. They talking about they might have had a problem at the Staples Singers. You know, man, I didn't want nothing to do with that.
Staples Center?
Yeah, that's where it was.
My God, you old school.
Yeah, man, I thought I was hanging out with Mavis or something, man.
Hey, why you popping your collar on the bulletproof vest like
Look,
that, man?
you know what, man,
Come on, man. That's too broke.
You know what, man? You got to stop this, man.
What?
For real, because let me lay this out. Man. First of all, you, single-handedly, you the only reason I even watched this show, man.
Oh, okay.
I mean, no, for real, what, you thought it because of my nephew? You thought it because of my nephew?
Yeah, it ain't because of me.
No love over there?
No, man, for real, man, because my nephew think he know everything.
I heard that part.
You can ask him something. You
can't
tell him nothing.
Hold on. Before you go to your side job, let's finish this job here.
I'm just saying,
Let's just finish this job here. All right, earlier in the show, I actually had to admit I got something wrong about Bill Belichick. Take a listen.
I've always believed in the horse, not the jockey. You know what I mean? I'm sitting there like, you get a special horse, they say anybody can ride him as long as he's little. But if you, you know what I mean? But if you get you a bum horse and the best, Bill Shoemaker walk over there and that horse ain't going nowhere. So y'all giving Belichick a little too much credit. Brady out there doing his thing.
Even if it ends today, though, Marcellus, this era of football will be known for Bill Belichick. They'll be probably renaming the Lombardi Trophy after Belichick.
Wow.
All right, so yeah, I had to admit today that I had to apologize to Bill Belichick. I had been very critical during the offseason. Uncle Jimmy wanted to have your take on our conversation from earlier in the day about Bill Belichick.
It wasn't even, it was just a simple, what is your upside to trying to criticize Bill Belichick?
Preach.
I mean, what is it that you possibly have to gain, man?
Look, everybody is worthy of being criticized. That's my job. I'm a critic. So Bill Belichick is not immune to criticism. I maybe was a little bit over the top.
A lot over the top. You're criticizing him against himself and his standard, not against the field, which some other 31 coaches are looking up to Bill Belichick.
No. Y'all totally missing the whole damn shebang there, man. Okay. I mean, look, man,
sublime.
Bill Belichick is like Pam Grier. Okay, you got me?
Yeah.
Bill Belichick is Pam Grier, Lena Horne, Diana Ross, and Oprah's bank statement. All rolled up into one.
Any current references in there? Anybody from the 80s look good to you?
I'm just making this statement to you.
Okay, respect.
And you know what you do. You know what you do with that, right?
What you do with that?
You don't do nothing with it. You don't ask about it. You don't do nothing. Because you happy you got it.
Just go home and shut up, huh? Yeah, take his advice, Whitlock. That's on you, man.
Bill Belichick is like anything else. He can be questioned and criticized. All you have to do is have the self-awareness like I do to know when to fall back.
Well, individually, I understand. Look, when you talk about the Malcolm Butler move, that individual move, you're like scratching your head. But in totality, like I couldn't go into the offseason like you. You had on like 5 different suits criticizing him. Like, what are you doing? How you gonna be a name still criticizing him?
Marcellus, can I ask you one more question?
Marcellus? Yes, sir, Mr. SWAT, sir.
Quickly, we got to get to the ratings.
Listen, man, because you was just talking about your boy, all right? Mm-hmm. You just talking about. Now, let me ask you this. Man, my nephew, man, instead of talking about Belichick, he the type of dude, man, that if Beyonce came out, didn't shave her legs one time, he gonna complain. Bro, Beyonce can hang around me for a whole year. And when she come around me, you know what I'm gonna do?
What you gonna do?
Hit her with that Febreze. God damn it, baby, keep it moving, because Daddy loves you.
I don't know where, Uncle you.
Belichick is not Beyonce. We got to get to our approval ratings. We got to get to our approval ratings. I got Belichick almost at GOAT status, all the way up to a 75, 23 job performance, 25 all-time greatness, 12 in character, 15 in authenticity.
I respect
a 75.
That. I respect that. It should be a little higher. I mean, in the battle of the GOATs, which they promoted yesterday, the coach was the GOAT, as you said earlier in the show, so I got him at an 80.
Hey, man, who was the black GOAT? Who's the black GOAT? Hurry up,
Jordan.
Show me a picture of the black GOAT.
Cordarrelle
Patterson.
I think that's
what it was. It was Cordarrelle Patterson.